Well, a warm welcome to this talk. It's Friday the 24th of May. Now, today's talk is concerning and bemusing. It's based around this document here. It runs to about 58 pages. This is the full document here I've put on the screen. You can download it. It's now in the public domain, and I'll put the link. And it's from the Therapeutic Goods Administration in Australia, which controls their drugs and vaccination policy. Now, the key thing is that this document has only been released as a result of Freedom of Information requests. Now, it was released after a long time of Freedom of Information requests, and even now it's still quite highly redacted. Bear in mind, all the information we're going to be talking about here was known before Australia authorised the vaccines, January 2021. Now, this is done largely on Pfizer data, but written by the Therapeutic Goods Administration in Australia. So given that it comes from Pfizer, this is international information. I think we can be certain that this information was on Anthony Fauci's desk. The first thing I want to look at is the distribution of the lipid nanoparticles. We were told it stayed in the injection site. I can now tell you that the lipid nanoparticles are widely distributed, very widely distributed. Now, I have a table here with all the organs where this was distributed. It is here, and I've blown it up a bit for you so you can see this. Pretty alarming. It's basically going to a lot of organs. So these are the list of organs where there was data for distribution. Adipose tissue is fat. The lipid nanoparticles went there, unfortunately. Adrenal glands, bladder, bone, the femur they checked, bone marrow. Bone marrow is I find it particularly uncomfortable that the lipid nanoparticles went to the bone marrow, because that's where all the blood cells are produced. Not speculating on what that could cause, but they went there. Therefore, the RNA that they contained went there as well. This is the point here. Particles went to the brain, the eyes, the heart, at the injection site, of course. And we do notice it was high concentrations at the injection site, but the point is it was systemically distributed as well. Kidneys, large intestine, liver, lungs, lymph nodes, mandibular, that's under the jaw, mesenteric, that's associated with the gut, muscle, ovaries, pancreas. It went to all of these organs. Pituitary gland, the master of the endocrine orchestra, relatively high concentrations in the pituitary gland. Prostate gland in men, lower concentration. Salivary gland, skin, small intestine, spinal cord, spleen, stomach, testes. Concerning. Thymus gland behind the sternum, thyroid gland in the neck, uterus, whole blood, plasma, and that gives the ratio. So we do see that these concentrations are in all of these organs. Now, this table here gives, if you want to see it, it's I mean, you could do a screenshot of that if you wanted to, but it's all, I've given you the reference for it. They're all the full concentrations of the distribution of the lipid nanoparticle radioactivity after particular periods of time. So let's just give one example here, the liver. There's the data there. So at 25 minutes, it was 0.74. Now, the units here are micrograms of lipid equivalent per gram, or in the case of the blood, presumably per mil. So way higher than I would have anticipated. 25 minutes, it was 0.74. 1 hour, 4.6. 2 hours, it's still going up. 4 hours, it's still going up. 8 hours, it's still going up. 24 hours, it looks like it's gone down a bit, 19.24, but at 48 hours, still 24.29. So it looks like it's kind of stabilized there in the 8 to 24 hour period. So the obvious question is, why did they only go up to 48 hours? Why didn't they keep testing? until the concentrations went down. So what we can say is the substantial numbers of lipid nanoparticles with the messenger RNA coding for the spike protein in the liver at 48 hours. What about 3 days? What about 4 days? Didn't seem to be done. And bear in mind, all this was known before the vaccines were approved. All this was known before the vaccines were approved. Struggling for words. So what someone needs to do now, really, I haven't had time to do this today, but look back to people in authority who said this wasn't systemically distributed. And given that this report is from the TGA on January 2021, anyone who said that after January 2021, well, the best thing we can say is they were poorly informed, isn't it? But if they're in authority, they shouldn't have been poorly informed. This won't get to mainstream media, of course. But it's a government document, therefore I am allowed to talk about it. Much rather not, but I'm not going to speculate on what this means, because I don't know if I'm going beyond my remit saying that, but we can say that this is definitely the systemic distribution.